Al-Hadid Church in Egypt hosts the Saudi Crown Prince for a service. Everyone in the church got chills after that. After sunset, Cairo's streets were bustling. Amber and rose-colored golden light illuminated the city's antique architecture. Coptic Christians in Egypt have adored the Al-Hadid Church for centuries, even among the city's cacophony. Many generations of silky hands have silently witnessed history. Families gathered in the courtyard before the service to play under the church's bell tower. Their laughter echoed off the stone walls. Priests set up lights and songbooks for evening worship inside. They had no idea that pews would host a fantastic event. One person stood out as worshippers entered that night. Not only his beliefs, but also his character. Many didn't know this, but Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman landed in Cairo that day. He spent 3 days in Egypt to enhance relations between Saudi Arabia and Copts. MBS was on an official trip, but his visit in Cairo that day was meant to be quiet. Not even his closest advisors knew of the visit's purpose until the finish. This excursion to Cairo's historic Al-Hadid Church was personal for MBS. Months of reflection, private conflicts, and a longing to connect with something greater led to it. When his SUV stopped outside the church, the Crown Prince pondered. He left the room and headed for the iron doors after taking a deep breath, accompanied by 2 silent workers. The religious service was lively. The congregation sang a centuries-old hymn as candlelight flickered across the old walls, and the priest's voice carried the weight of tradition. It was a tranquil period where people might temporarily forget their troubles. Finally, the church's back doors opened with a peculiar sound. It shone out in the quiet service despite its low volume. Some were annoyed at being disturbed, while others were curious. However, seeing the person in the opening changed the room's ambience. Few knew him at first. His plain white robe and black bish over his shoulders made him look unassuming. However, his face features got clearer. Churchgoers whispered once the lights dimmed. Prince Mohammed bin Salman stood before everyone. He was tall and had the dominating presence of a recognized leader. No one anticipated what would happen. In this peaceful Cairo neighborhood, this leader from a country with few churches entered a Christian church. No ordinary boss. Saudi Arabia's crown prince is a global powerhouse. Even though it was serious, the crowd stared at each other and whispered loudly. What brought him here? Was this to convey goodwill, politeness, or anything else? The shocked and awed crowd stood there staring. MBS seems unconcerned with the attention. A serene demeanor, thoughtful stance, and attitude characterized him. He slowly crossed many rows of pews to a rear open place. It appeared he knew himself. There was no one behind him and no noise to alert others. Just 2 workers politely stood by the entrance. Father Yusuf, the church's old priest, was astonished and halted mid-sentence, but he resumed. Years of wisdom and kindness informed his response. He spoke in a warm, inquisitive manner as he approached the crown prince. MBS cocked his head to show he understood and smiled slightly. Softly he whispered, "Thank you, Father." He sat down and bowed, appearing to have always been there. The service continued. However, the mood changed. Everyone sensed a fresh atmosphere and understood this evening was different without saying so. Most people didn't know MBS's purpose. The individual behind the title wasn't seen. Instead, they perceived a boss, royal, and power symbol. Few knew about his months-long battle and loneliness and doubt that led him here. The Crown Prince has always been ambitious and strong. He's known for huge reforms and a great Saudi Arabian future strategy. His health has been reported in recent months. He wasn't going out as much due to rumors of a personal fight. Nearby people knew the truth. A major health issue tested his body and heart. The journey was difficult. Treatments and sleepless nights. His duties weighed on him. All of it exhausted her. A man who had always been in charge felt embarrassed and lonely. Faith, a source of force he hadn't completely comprehended, kept him going even when he had misgivings and the future seemed uncertain. It took time to realize. In the solitude between treatments and meetings, he thought about life's bigger questions, including why we're here, how to be strong, and how long we can last. He searched unfamiliar sites for answers. He examined several theological materials and spoke to spiritual gurus before joining Al-Hadid Church. MBS chose Christian meetings himself. It was unrelated to politics or PR, not to prove anything. He relaxed and connected with something greater. He wasn't a leader or crown prince. He sought tranquility here as a man. The church air grew almost tangible as the service progressed. The congregation's dedication, hymns, and candlelight created a spiritual mood. MBS sensed something new in months. As a child, he never knew this world because there were few churches and Christianity was a minority religion. Even though no one knew why he was there, he felt at home in this old building. Father Yusuf asked churchgoers to speak after the last hymn. The upcoming event gave everyone chills, yet it was always done. MBS stood up and went to the front of the congregation. His expression was unreadable and his steps slow. As he faced the saints, the chamber was silent. He paused, apparently thinking. His voice was firm and honest as he spoke. He adds, "I want to thank you all for letting me be here tonight in the hallowed site." His words resonated. "I wasn't a prince or leader. I came here as a man seeking meaning for months." Moving words hovered in the air. He briefly discussed his health issues. He discussed what they made him think. He said, "I have realized that faith is not found when we are at our strongest, but when we are at our weakest, we must keep hope in terrible times." Everyone was glued to their chairs. He spoke honestly, bringing tears to many. One small boy was upset by MBS's speech. Despite talking to the world's most powerful man, he didn't discuss politics or power. People were his topic. MBS's gentle genuineness captivated everyone in the room. After speaking, the room was silent. His words hung in the air like a presence. A murmur came from the church's back. Despite its quiet, tentative start, many in the crowd recognized the simple music. Its melody had been passed down through generations and sounded hopeful. A young woman in the choir loft had a stronger voice as more people joined. Voices rose as the church sang together. The music infused the space with an otherworldly beauty. No one planned or practiced the song. An unexpected gesture of group sentiment. It let the congregation say what words couldn't. MBS found it movingly unifying. He stood with his head down, absorbing the music. The hymn got louder and bolder with each lyric. A few crowd members closed their eyes and cried. Many held hands, their expressions showing pain and hope. The room went silent when the hymn concluded. It seemed no one dared break the enchantment. Forever, everyone would remember that moment. Pure humanity existed for a minute. The congregation slowly stood up, as if they didn't want to leave the holy spot. MBS lingered, staring at the flickering altar lights. A little figure appeared in his peripheral vision. Despite being under 10, the same boy gently walked up with a modest arrangement of white flowers. Churchgoers froze as he approached the crown prince. A soft-faced MBS bent down to meet the boy at eye level. "These are for you," the youngster whispered murkily as he held out the flowers. The crown prince accepted the floral arrangement with a smile. He whispered "thank you" softly to demonstrate his gratitude. After contemplating it, the boy responded, "Your brave." MBS's eyes sparkled and smile broke. His hand rested on the boy's shoulder. Softly he responded, "No, you're the brave one, keep it in mind." An average boy and a world leader had a brief discussion, yet it meant more than words could tell. And significant and brave time for the boy. MBS learned how powerful weakness is, and how even tiny actions move people. The world never heard about this remarkable group at Cairo's Al-Hadid church, despite its importance. That choice was deliberate. The people there realized the occasion was holy and kept quiet. A few grainy photos snapped by guests in secret went online, but they got little attention. They were dismissed as lies without more information. However, that night became a treasured narrative shared in calm tones and respectful smiles. MBS's journey also changed then. He will always remember that moment of clarity and oneness. The church stopped again as his SUV drove off into Cairo darkness. Its iron doors closed on a memorable night. The event demonstrated faith, unity, and the truth that humans are human across boundaries, according to attendees. What do you think about the Crown Prince's Al-Hadid church visit? Discuss this beautiful story in the comments. Please explain. See you next film.